right, guys. Beauty Gains, episode 20.
Oh, wow.
Oh, fuck. We're in it today, B. All right, guys. So today we're going to stick with every 10th episode. We're going to do a Q&A. So anything that you guys want to specifically ask us that you've heard or you're more interested in or just want a good story, because apparently that's what Curly's going to bring today. But thanks for staying with us for this long. We've been looking at where we started to where we are now kind of things, and it's very different now.
Oh, yeah. I've had many different hair colors, too.
We don't have shoes on.
Yeah.
I just think I woke up like this today, opposed to our spray tan. Well, Courtney still has spray tan and eyelashes, but I do not anymore.
Today. I just faked it. It's fine.
She faked her face. All right, guys. So Courtney is going to start with her first question.
First question. What is your biggest accomplishment of 2021 so far? So I would say getting second best spray tanning in Bergen County. Thank you. So I started Glow in 2017, and last year I got 5th or 4th, I think. But yeah, this year I got 2nd. So this is definitely a big accomplishment for me.
I have no idea what my biggest accomplishment is yet. I think it's just in the works still. So I can't say anything's accomplished yet, but big things are in the works of being accomplished right now.
Can't wait for it.
But like the other thing is, you just said it's taking you this long. You know what I mean? It's like built up years and years. I think that people want accomplishments. Jesus, it's already starting. Accomplishments to be, I set out for something a week ago and I already accomplished it. Yeah. There are short-term goals, but there are some things that you have to do for the long run, which is, again, holding on to it, but it was still something that you stuck to.
Yeah, I was bothering everybody. I was like, guys, vote. Yeah. And it really definitely helped. I had people voting that never even gotten a spray tan from me, but they DM'd me and they're like, I just like your hustle, so I wanted to vote for you and like help you out. I was like, oh, I appreciate it.
So we're almost in April already.
It's crazy.
So people that had like New Year's resolutions or just were tired of 2020 and now we're in 2021, make sure you have your goals set out. Yeah. Don't just push them off because the world is crazy. You should still have goals.
Don't push it off because you're not getting it right away.
Yeah. You got to stick with it.
Yeah.
Just like anything. Mm-hmm. All right. My question, I feel like my questions going right into it are, which one should I pick first? All right. We'll start off a little lighter. What's your biggest Instagram pet peeve? My biggest Instagram pet peeve, and I love that I had this question because I already had like an example of it today. My biggest pet peeve is unsolicited advice. I literally do not fucking care about your random points that you decided you had to make in order to seem like you knew something that somebody else out there didn't fucking know. So I just made a post that I went shooting yesterday. And of course, people are like, oh, you should save your ammo for the Civil War. And it's like, I get you're trying to be funny, but you're also being serious at the same time. But like, you're not the first person to like come up with like, oh God, I got to save ammo. That shit's been going on for like a year now about people wanting to save everything. It's all right. What, I'm not supposed to go to the range because I have to like anticipate a Civil War happening. And what, if I can't shoot correctly, what the fuck is that going to do for me? But then another person was like, oh, like seems fun. Let me give you some tips on how to hold that gun, though. Do you not think that the person that was with me, who owns the gun, who is literally trained, like military, everything, that they, if I was doing something so terribly wrong, that they wouldn't have told me that?
It's like you didn't ask for your opinion.
Like, I'm not a professional fucking sharpshooter. Yeah. I get it. And like, I've got shit wrong with my arms. Even with lifting, I used to, well, obviously I still post things, but posting things and then some being like, in my deadlift, oh, your big toe raised, that means that you're not properly spread out. Not every fucking rep. If I've deadlifted 5,000 times and my toe has lifted up 100 times, I literally do not give a fuck. Not every rep is going to be perfect. Not every single thing. That's where everybody gets on each other. They're like, oh, well, that might have been 200 and whatever pounds, but your heel elevated for a second. It's not perfect. No lift is ever going to be pristinely fucking perfect. So leave your unsolicited advice. If somebody posted something up and was like, hey guys, just started doing this, or just started shooting, or just started lifting, or just started doing makeup or hair, any advice is warranted. Like, you know what I mean? Like, not warranted. Any advice is welcomed. If somebody is welcoming you to give advice, or they're putting out there, hey, this is my first time, like, if anybody has any tips, I would love them. But if someone is just posting up something, they're like, oh, this is this. And especially if they're in an industry, or if they already have like a professional with them, they do not need your fucking unsolicited advice. Mind your business. If you don't want to comment something, whatever, don't even comment it. Literally, biggest pet peeve is unsolicited fucking advice. And I was talking to my friend about it earlier, and they were like, I feel like women constantly have to deal with unsolicited advice.
100%.
Because everybody thinks that you're like a damsel. You're like, oh God, I don't know how to hold this fucking gun. I'm just going to fucking shoot myself in the foot because I'm not fucking 1 inch higher in my shoulder blade. Like, stop.
It's just annoying too, because it kind of goes back to just like, it would make someone like insecure in a sense too. Like other people where they're feeling confident to post what they post. So they're not asking for your advice. So why are you trying to bring them down?
Yeah.
Like, I would never, if a girl just started doing makeup, be like, oh, you have to blend this out right. No, I'd be like, good for you. Like, keep going, keep practicing. Like,
if somebody's excited about something, or somebody had a good day and you're just like, oh, that looks great, but why don't you do it this way? Or why don't you do it this way?
Keep your opinion.
And on top of it, like, if you don't even know that person, like, I get this from people I don't know. And like, my friends will message me, you know what I mean? Like, on the side. So if you're not personally connected to someone where you could message them, like text them, message them, or call them up and tell them it, don't give people advice that didn't fucking ask you for advice. It's annoying. And you're not like, and that's the other thing, you're not shooting your shot that way either. Like, if you don't know a girl or you don't know a guy and you're deciding to give them unsolicited advice because you think that's going to be helpful to them and going to be an icebreaker, it's not an icebreaker. You just ruined all of your chances by being fucking annoying. So don't do it. All right, Courtney, should I do my drum roll now?
Is it the embarrassing story time?
I don't know. You told me it was going to be your second question.
All right, fine. Ready, drum roll. So, question. Most embarrassing moment in front of a crush. Okay, so story time. So, I had a little crush on this person. And this person, and we were all out one night. We were at a club pre-corona, and this was like 2 years ago. I don't even know, to be honest. So,
oh boy, you're not even gonna get through the story.
This club has a slide. Okay. And we were with a bunch of people, so I was like, oh, let's go check out this slide that I heard this club had. I was wearing leather leggings, and this slide,
and you decided to go down a slide and like
hang on.
I'm just gonna stare at Brandon for the rest of the story because I want to see Brandon's reaction.
So this slide is like, you know, like the old fashioned slides, like at like a playground where it's like metal.
Where were you?
Slate in
I've been there. And I've never seen the slide.
It wraps around. It doesn't just go straight down. It wraps around. So, you know, this person went down the slide fine, waiting for me at the bottom.
Because they weren't wearing leather pants.
Yeah, no. Okay, so I decided to go, and I got stuck, obviously. Clearly, I wasn't thinking. And I had to push myself down the slide in heels, in leather leggings, yelling up to the top to not send someone down because I'm stuck in it. And I get to the bottom, there's an opening, and I jumped out and I ran. I was just like, I got stuck on the slide. Let's just go get a drink right now.
So as an adult, I'm about to have a baby tear. As an adult, you opted to go down a slide in leather leggings. And I got stuck.
I couldn't go down the slide.
I was waiting for more, B, what kind of ending were you waiting for? I was waiting for like a fall off the end, face plant into it.
No, it's just embarrassing. It took me a while to get down there. Everyone just glides right down, and I'm just pushing myself just down.
Could you imagine you got to the bottom and they weren't even waiting for you anymore? They were like later.
They went up the stairs to be like, where'd she go?
Just like, I'm gonna go. The girl can't even manage to get down a fucking slide. And he like leaves to go to the bar, finds way more alcohol for the rest of the night.
I was so embarrassed because I came down in like huge heels too, and I just like jumped up and I was like, oh my god, it was a struggle.
Lord.
Yeah, that's my embarrassing moment.
All right, you ready to be upped by an embarrassing moment?
Good, please. Please.
Lord. So I was in college and I was hanging out with this guy, and I think I met him in class or something like that. We had gone out a few times, and we were doing like homework or something one time at his place. And then I was sitting on him, and like we were like making out, whatever. And I go to move, and I look down, and I just see red all over his sweatpants. And I usually don't get embarrassed by things, but back then I was just like mortified because, again, I had only been like hanging out with him for maybe like 3 weeks, like a month. I'm like sitting on his lap, and I look down, and there's a fucking murder scene. And to me, I didn't know what to say because I didn't just want to be like, oh, hey, like, guess what I just did to you?
Oh my god.
So my dumbass literally, I don't know why I decided to ask him this, but I asked him if he got cut, if he had like a cut on his leg that like opened up because I was sitting on him, and he was like, what? And he looked at me, he's like, are you bleeding? I go, are you bleeding? Like, I tried to pretend that it wasn't me for a second because I didn't know what to do. And then I was like, I don't know. So then I got up and I ran to the bathroom. I already knew that I had my period, but like I had just changed my tampon. I had like thick ass sweatpants on myself. So it wasn't like I was in like shorts or little leggings. And I was like, what the fuck? So then I got out of the bathroom. He had already changed. His pants were like thrown in the corner. And he looked at me and was just like, so is it you? I was like, we know it's me. We know that you're not bleeding through your fucking pants because you have a cut. I don't know why I asked that. He was like, it's fine. He like hugged me, and I was like, can you just take me home now? And he was like, okay. We didn't talk like the whole car ride back. I took his sweatpants with me to wash them, and the whole car ride was silent. And I was just like, can you make a joke? Can you just like make fun of me? And he's like, no, I'm not going to make fun of you. Like, it's okay. I go, no, I need you to make a joke. I need you to make fun of me because that's how I'm going to handle this right now. He's like, I'm not making fun of you. So then I got out, and my best guy friend, who lived next to me for like 2-3 years, and I come back into the room, and he's in there with my other roommate, and they look at me, they're like, what's up? And I just like held his sweatpants out to show them, and he was like, oh, he is telling all of his friends, you are so fucked, he's never talking to you again, how embarrassing, just like ripping me apart, making me feel so much worse. But that's just like, that's who he was. And I was just like, shut the fuck up. I was like, I'm already mortified. So I tried making a joke out of it, and I guess it just became a joke. As I'm telling the story, it just keeps going. So then I went to give him his sweatpants back, and to make it a joke, I put like tampons in the pocket just to be like, whatever. He got the sweatpants, took a picture of it later on, took a picture of the tampons. He was like, I think you need this much more than I do. And then the next time we were all out together, we were pre-gaming in a house together, and a couple of the guys were rolling around and wrestling, and they bumped into me, and I hit my arm into something, and my arm started bleeding. I was like, I'm fucking bleeding. And he looks over at me, he's like, not again. And I was like, we can't do this. I can't keep having this joke going forever. But yeah, I looked down, and I immediately just decided to ask him if he was bleeding. But I knew it was me, but I didn't know what to do at the time. So I just, I
actually just thought about another one.
Yeah, I think
it's not.
It's not as embarrassing as mine. Yeah. No. Yeah. So when you were saying that you had an embarrassing story, I was expecting something more than you getting stuck in a fucking slide with leggings. I can't.
Anyway, my other one.
Go for it.
You know, like when like you're in the beginning stages of talking to someone, and like you're just trying to like, impress them, like cute, like whatever. So obviously I get spray tanned, the Commando. So this is when I was talking to my ex at the beginning, and I slept over and I had a spray tan on and I fell asleep in it. And I didn't know, like, when he was at work that he, like, burnt himself. So I didn't know this. So in the morning, I woke up and I just saw, like, on his arm, like, it looked like I got spray tan all over his arm. And this is, like, super beginning, like, didn't want to embarrass myself. Like, hey, my spray tan's on you. Like, you're going to walk around with it on you. So I just started, like, rubbing his arm, like, trying to get it off.
Oh, my God. You're fucking probably, like, killing him.
I was rubbing his arm trying to get it off. Then he starts moving. And I was just, like, looking. I was just, like, holding his arm there just to, like, see what it was. Later on, I found out it wasn't my spray tan. He burnt himself.
Yeah, and you were just rubbing his burn.
Just rubbing his
Jesus
burn.
Christ. What a fucking psychopath.
I thought it was a spray tan. The funny thing is, I told him probably a couple months ago about that story to tell him, like, why I was rubbing his arm.
Oh my God. In his sleep, you're rubbing his arm. Jesus Christ.
He moved it. I'm like, shit.
Oh my God. All right. I don't even know whose turn is it now.
Yours.
Okay. All right. I guess those are probably the only fun ones we're gonna hit. A lot of the other ones are like lifting related and things like that. All right. So let me hit the jujitsu and lifting one. Someone asked me how I balance training jujitsu and lifting at the same time. I've had conversations before because in the beginning when I started doing jujitsu again, I was so like gung-ho on training as much as I possibly could. And I would train in the morning and then go back at night again and lift during the day on top of work. And after like a month, my body was like, you cannot train twice a day for 3 hours and then go and lift as much as you want. So I found a balance at first, but then when I started competing also, when you're trying to be good at multiple things, it's especially physical things, it's not impossible, but it's very hard to find a balance unless you're like a fucking professional athlete and that's all you have to do. That's what you get paid for. It's a hard balance to find between how much you can give physically. Mm-hmm. And that takes a lot of, are you eating right? So if I'm training really, really hard, both of them, I have to make sure that my nutrition's on point. So if I'm working all day long and then going straight from there, that was another thing, that finding the exact times of the day where I could eat so that I would make sure that I had enough fuel in order to do what I wanted to do. So it's, for me, being very, very structured and listening to how my body feels. But at the same time, again, something has to take the back seat for a while when you're trying to be competitive in one or the other. So when I was competing a lot for jiu-jitsu, lifting was taking the back seat, even though that's my job and that's mainly what I do. It had to take a back seat because I couldn't train as hard and as frequently as I wanted to in order to get ready for competitions and also lift. So my lifts wouldn't be very heavy. You know what I mean? So they would just be not like only maintenance, but they were lighter weight, more reps than that, just so that I could have the physical ability to go and train jiu-jitsu. Now, when you think about lifting and jiu-jitsu, a lot of people are like, oh, well, it depends on who you fucking talk to. A lot of people will argue jiu-jitsu has nothing to do with strength, everything to do with technique. Even if you're this size, you should be able to do this in jiu-jitsu. It's all like very heavily technique driven. If you're good at technique, it shouldn't matter what the size is. I will say that if you take a person with the same skill level and give them more strength, there is definitely a benefit. There is definitely an advantage to being a stronger person. Because if it comes down to your limb being broken and I could muscle out of that so that my limb is not broken, you bet your ass I'm using all my fucking muscle so that I'm not getting my arm snapped or my knee fucking popped. And being strong, again, is an advantage in my head. But at the same time, when I'm sore and I go to train, I want to die. So if my legs are sore and somebody does like a knee cut, so it's just like bringing their knee across your fucking thigh, I literally just want to scream at the top of my lungs. It's just like clinching everything, like, okay, that's fine. This is going so well. I feel great. And then if you're fatigued from being sore, fatigued from lifting too, and then you're doing like 4 or 5 minute rounds or 8-minute rounds or 10-minute rounds, my body has zero endurance left over. And after a while, I'm just like, okay, I'm just going to lay here now. If I'm being kidnapped, I'm being kidnapped. I'll escape later because I literally can't do it sometimes. So it is definitely a hard balance of wanting to lift over 300 pounds and also being competitive in jiu-jitsu. So right now, I don't have any tournaments set out. This whole COVID thing has made training very interesting. It's getting a lot better, but it's been interesting. So I've been concentrating more on lifting. So now I've only been really training jiu-jitsu like 2, maybe 3 times a week, where I used to train 4 or 5 days a week. But now I'm concentrating on lifting. Now I'm concentrating on, with Ant, getting me as strong as I can, because I want to lift 350 pounds off the fucking ground. Yeah. In the next couple months.
You got this.
So that's where, so that's where like my concentration is. So you can lift and do jujitsu. I know a lot of people shy away from it. They're like, oh, I can't afford to get hurt because I'm doing this, or I can't afford to be sore or doing this. You can do them. I think a lot of people make excuses as to, oh, jujitsu is in strength, so I don't really need to lift. They're two different things. One can obviously benefit the other, but it's definitely, one will have to take the back seat a little bit if you're needing to balance that level. Again, professional athletes are super fucking lucky. That's all they have to do. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard on their bodies
and on
too.
top of you have to do all of that and train your own clients too. So you still need that energy too. Because people would think like, oh, well, like you could rest then. Like, no, you're still involved.
Yeah,
just
I'm
as
still
much.
moving. I'm still doing everything throughout the day with clients, and definitely having a trainer schedule is good because it opens up time for training, but also bad because you're literally just doing things on your feet all day long, keeping you moving. But if you're shying away from having a lifting goal or having a jiu-jitsu goal because you're into one or the other, I know a lot of people are like, oh, I would love to try jiu-jitsu, but I'm afraid of getting hurt because of my injuries from lifting, or I think I'm too tight from doing this. Just go and do it. There are so many different types of people who do jiu-jitsu now for different reasons. I know that people who are into like powerlifting or lifting are competitive people. So in your mind, you want to be good at jiu-jitsu, you want to be competitive, but just take it slow in the beginning. There are so many people who have a slew of injuries who are training jiu-jitsu. It's just about being smart. And again, like we talk about all the time, leaving your ego at the side and just like healthily getting into it. You don't need to go balls to the walls, because at the end of the day, when you're first starting off anyway and you go balls to the walls, you will literally be smashed by everybody. Because they're just going to go to your pace. And if you're being an idiot and you're going to hurt them, they're going to end up hurting you so that you don't hurt them. So just chill out. If you have an injury, it's literally okay. So even people that older come to our academy and start. I know people who have had broken backs or like shoulder replacements or broken faces, and they still do it. So again, don't make it an excuse as to, oh, I can't afford to get hurt doing jiu-jitsu. Not everybody in jiu-jitsu gets hurt. Yeah. It's just a matter of time of different things. Okay, Court, you're up.
What made you get into spray tanning? So, I've been...
Didn't we already cover that? You just like to see women naked.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Exactly. So I've been in the beauty industry since 2013, and I was working in a salon at this point for like 5 years. And I just love to work, so I love to just do a bunch of things. I was doing blowouts at people's houses, just making like side money. I worked with a plastic surgeon at the salon I was at, and I was showing him like a spot that I had, like 2 spots I had on me, and I was like, what do you think of this? And he was just like, instead of going to like a dermatologist, like we could just schedule surgery, let's take it out, and we'll send it to the lab for testing. I was like, all right, thought nothing of it. And it was like little tiny like spots. So had my surgery, and then it came back. I had the stage before melanoma cancer. Mm-hmm. So I had to go, he wanted to go back in, and I had to go back in and get more taken out just because you just have to like make sure and all that. So I used to go tanning all the time in high school because I did competition cheering, and I didn't want to be like super pale on the mat. So I would just go, especially when we'd go to nationals in Florida. I didn't think anything of it. My parents would be like, stop going, stop going. I didn't go like every day. Like I would just go like maybe twice a week, like 5 minutes, like nothing crazy. So after I had that scare, I was like, all right, like not going tanning again. And I really like took care of myself like in the summertime, like would just do like 30, 50, whatever. So I scheduled a spray tan with a company I got one for a wedding that I was going to, and I was always so nervous of spray tanning, as everybody always is, because they're like, I don't want to be orange, whatever, and like that was my concern. So I got it, and I was like, this is like an easy process. Like, it really wasn't that bad. I liked the solution that the person used. So then kind of inspired me too. I was like, all right, well, I know I like to be tan. I feel so much better when I'm tan. So then at that point, I talked to me, my sister, and then her sister-in-law. We were all just like hanging out. And I was like, let's just like get into this. So with the help of them, actually, I started Glow, and we all found like solutions, and we all just found like a bunch of, like, we bought a shitload of solutions, tried out so many different ones before we even told anybody what we were doing. And then, yeah, we found the solution that I use now, and obviously it's not orange. Second best spray tanning in Bergen County. Yeah, and then that's kind of what like inspired me to get into it. And then throughout the years, it trickled down from like me, my sister, and her in-law, and it was just like me. So now I've just been building it up.
Yeah. I might need a spray tan before we go to Austin, because I am pale as fucking that door over there. You can like see my veins and stuff. And that's the biggest thing too. It's like, everybody likes being tan. We're just saying the first episode we ever did, we were both tan as shit, made up as shit, and now I'm like, you can see through my skin. But we're going to Austin at the end of April, and we're going on a boat, and I'm going to be in a bathing suit, and I need to be tan.
And people don't realize too, like the number one cancer too right now is melanoma. Like a lot of people.
But when you get a spray tan, does it hinder you from getting tan from the sun?
You get tan, you still get tan. So even when I go away, like I go away for 2 weeks in the summer, and I usually tan myself, and I get like a tan underneath it. It's fine. For me personally, like everybody's different. For me personally, it kind of helps me not get burnt.
Yeah.
But when you have like, from when I get one session of a spray tan, it would take me all summer to get that tan.
Yeah, for sure.
So you just kind of, you're looking at that, and you don't really realize that you still get like a base tan underneath. So when it starts to come off, you see like even on your hands are tan. So you don't see like pale and then like tan line, you know, because everyone's washing their hands so much. But no, yeah, you still get tan underneath it. There's certain like there's certain sunscreens you can't use. Like you can't use a spray one.
That's what I was going to ask. If I get a spray tan and then I have to put sunscreen on my body so that I don't crisp, what do I wear over it?
Like a 50-30. Just a regular lotion.
Okay, it just can't be a spray.
Because the spray will, like the oil will make it blotchy.
Right, and so then no oil. See, this is the other thing. I'm white as fuck. And when I go to, like, even last year when we went to Costa Rica, we were there for like 4 days. And the first 2 days, I got zero color at all. This didn't even get burnt. Because if I put anything on me, if I put like 8, if I put an 8 or a 15 on, I will get zero color. So the only way I get color is if I like don't put anything on and I like get a little red. And then it turns into tan. And then once I get that initial tan, then I will tan the rest of the summer. But I legit can't put like anything on or I stay pale. I'm like, how am I in Costa Rica and I still am like tissue paper? You see straight through everything. And then everyone always makes fun of me for being so pale. And they were like, maybe you're so white that you reflect the sun away from you. Because how they say like white reflects it and like the black absorbs it. Like maybe you're just that white that the sun just reflects right off of you. You don't absorb anything. Like, where do people come up with this shit? I don't fucking understand. So, all right. So spray tan will be a B. Do you want to get a spray tan before Austin?
Come on.
Ooh.
Don't worry. We're going to have something where all the guys are going to get spray tan. Don't you worry.
B's getting a spray tan.
100%.
B, do you tan? Okay.
You're getting a spray tan.
If he doesn't choke on his water right now. Okay. Did you just go?
Yes.
All right. Ow. Oh, sorry, Court. I'm pushing the fucking...
Oh, it's okay.
There's a lot happening right now. Okay. Next question is... All right, I'm going to hit this question because this person is relentless on this question. What? Okay, so let's go off of what a hip bridge and a hip thrust is in general. Okay, it's
For people like me who don't know
but
any.
I feel like that's the main exercise I see you doing all the time.
Yeah,
So,
no, I just
what do you call it?
Yeah, no, hip thrusts.
Okay.
I just got confused. Yeah, just no one mind me.
Okay, so there's different hip bridges. Like you can do your hip bridge when you have your back on the ground and you do a hip bridge. You could do a hip thrust. I think people just differentiate if your back's on the ground or up or what you're doing. But a hip thrust also, like you have your back on a bench or something where you're elevated and you sink your butt down to the ground and then you finish and you end up looking like a little bridge. But this person is relentless on why you do not need to train heavy hip bridges. And I think we need to take heavy as relative. You know what I mean? So like heavy for me is going to be different for heavy for you, different for B. You know what I mean? Like B is hip thrusting 5 pounds over there. She goes,
I'm at 8.
Courtney's at 8 pounds.
Yeah.
What? So again, everything is relative. So if you hear somebody saying like, you shouldn't be heavy hip bridging, to me, that's you shouldn't be hip bridging a weight that you literally cannot fully lock out. So you shouldn't be throwing 500 pounds on the bar to do a hip bridge if you can barely budge it off of the ground. So that's like this whole ego thing as to with bench, with squat, with deadlift, some people like every single thing that they do that they think that they need to PR in something where it's not truly a thing because there's not actual crossover from that. And so if you're hip bridging 400 pounds for a 1 rep max, chances are you're not fully locking out or engaging your glutes the right way. So you're not actually getting any stronger. You're literally just thrusting. So that's all like momentum. So if you're just thrusting into the fucking universe with however much weight, but you're not getting actual glute engagement from it, then you're doing nothing. Again, besides thrusting, besides practicing, doing whatever you want to talk about. But yeah, I would recommend if you're going to do hip bridges, which are great to do because again, building your glutes and things like that and getting them stronger is definitely necessary in order to assist lockouts in both of main lifts. If you want to talk about the third one, bench, you could squeeze too, but you got to keep on the bench. But with it, using a lighter weight, you could still use a barbell. We're not saying like don't use a barbell, but you have to be able to use a weight that you can properly get that full squeeze and lockout and engagement with your glutes. So if you're not coming up even and squeezing through, there's literally no point in what you're doing. And just because you could say that you hip bridged or hip thrusted fucking 800 pounds, you're probably not actually finishing the motion. You're not getting full like hip extension out there. So I like using a resistance band, putting it over. I used to do it a lot. There are machines that are out there that people use that you can just preload it with it. Not every gym definitely has that. So if you just take resistance bands, I used to do this whole MacGyver thing of putting the band on with the plates over it, and then you slip into it like you're going into a fucking blanket, and then you put it right over where like your pelvic bones are. And using that way. So you're in constant tension through your entire range, or just putting the barbell over just with a lighter weight. So again, heavy hip bridges is relative to you. If you can get a full squeeze and lockout, fine. But you shouldn't be doing 1 rep max hip bridges. Again, that's just an ego thing. Like, look how much weight I can do. Okay, cool. But how much can you squat? How much can you deadlift? Moving on.
Oh, my phone just locked me out. Okay. Some question. How do you handle clients when they're unhappy with your services or pricing? So this is something I kind of come in often when I'm working with brides. When I give them my pricing, they don't want to pay my rates. And they kind of try to like, sometimes they try to barter and then others understand, or just honestly with everything. It comes down to just how much experience, and this kind of goes into another question, so I'll just answer both of them. It goes into like the experience and the amount of education you put into yourself, how much your kit costs. So my kit, if I added everything up, brushes and all that, it would be a lot of money. So I tell people too that other artists that are really kind of starting to get in there. Like from when I first started to where I am now, obviously I wouldn't charge what I used to charge. Mm-hmm. But it comes into just like your experience, how much you educate yourself. People think it's just how in demand you are, and it's not about that. Like, it's not like, oh, she has this many followers, so this is why she charges that. No, like, there's artists out there who have way less followers than other people that I know and are better than others. You know, it doesn't come into that. It comes into how much education you put in yourself, what you know your worth is. So, also, too, for trials, let's say someone got their makeup done elsewhere and wasn't happy with it and then came to me and was like, I got my makeup done somewhere, I wasn't happy with it, I want to look like this. And this also plays into the part of, you know, you say you want natural and then you show me again. We'll talk about Kim Kardashian, Kylie Jenner, all of them, and you show me a picture of them. And you have to just really sit there with the client and explain to them, okay, whenever you got your makeup done, like this is all into my trials, when you've gotten your makeup done, what did you like about it? What didn't you like about it? Show me pictures, not just pictures of celebrities and what you want to look like. Show me like your best selfie that you felt so good about yourself. Show me that so I could go off of what you do every day. Even when I've done your makeup, I know that if I did on you what I do on me, you'd be unhappy.
I would look like a cross-dresser. I cannot put heavy makeup on my face. I look terrible.
But from just knowing you, but we got to skip the consultation because obviously I know you. I know you're not going to want full eyelashes how I would wear, full contour how I would wear. I would do more of a natural look. So you want to go off of that. So I always like to say, like, bring pictures. Even my hair consultations. Oh, I don't like my color that another stylist did. Okay, show me a color that you would like to achieve. Show me a color that you didn't like. And then tell me, like, what your goals are and what you like about your face, what you like that you want accentuated, like all of that. So you have to really sit, and that goes into the consultation, that whole thing. And then pricing just kind of, if somebody's going to barter with you, and I've gotten to a point where like when I first started, I was like, oh, I just want to take the client. I need money. I got to a point now where I'm so busy that if you're going to barter with me, you're not meant to be my client. I'm sorry. Like you have to understand, like after quarantine and Corona, I had a bride try to book with me, and I gave her my rates and all that, and she wanted me to go down a lot. Like I just flat out said, like, I'm not leaving my house for that much money. I'm sorry. Like, it would be a waste. And I remember me and my sister talking. She's like, well, you went all these months without working, so like you should take it so you get money. I go, no, because then that person's gonna go tell their friend that they paid that, and then it's just gonna trickle down, and then I'm constantly giving out that service for that much money, and it doesn't even cover my kit. It doesn't even cover the price that I have to put aside to cover my kit costs, to refill my kit and to go into my separate bank account for my business. Not gonna happen. And I ended up I said, I'm sorry, maybe I could find you another artist in that rate that you want, but it comes down to like, I'm not going to stress myself over making a little bit of money. Like, I know my worth now. If you don't want to pay it, like, I'm sorry. And they were like, well, I'm coming off of quarantine. I'm like, well, so am I. You're taking out of my paycheck too.
People don't get that, like, services and like quote unquote luxuries in their mind. Like, that's our job.
Yeah, it would be. And I was talking to my sister about this. I go, would you ever call your boss up and be like, hey, don't pay me a lot this week? You know, just give me a discount on my paycheck. No, when would you ever?
People don't take our jobs as a job because we're not working a 9 to 5.
They think it's like luxurious, like, oh, like she just likes to do makeup. Like, this is my job.
This is literally what I chose to do with my life.
And also too, if I'm taking for a wedding, for instance, that's like 6 hours. If I'm taking 6 hours of my day that I could have literally, the price that she wanted, it would be 2 spray tans for me. And that would be less than 2 hours of work for me. If I'm taking 6 hours of my day that I could have gotten at least 6 spray tans in, I'm sorry, I have to make that money to compensate what I possibly could have made. And I turned her down, and I was like, oh, I was thinking to myself, like, maybe I should have just helped her out. And I was like, no, I ended up getting booked a wedding that same day, and they paid me my rate and tipped me. And it comes down to just knowing your worth. And when you know your worth in what you offer your clients and stuff, that you believe in that, they're going to believe in that too. And then you're going to attract the clients that will pay your rates.
And we've spoke about it in other episodes before. There's a difference between helping somebody and being taken advantage of because somebody doesn't understand the value of things. They're like, oh, it's just makeup, or oh, it's just personal training. This is literally what we do. I had a friend the other day who drives me insane. It's a guy too. And for years, he like, I won't call my sister on it, but he reminds me of my sister in the sense of like every few years, he'll message me and be like, hey, are you still training? Yes, it's still my job. Oh, like, what are your rates? But he does, what are your friends and family rates? I haven't seen you in like 4 years. And you only pop up when you need help training or whatever. And I felt bad because he said like he had went to the doctor and he really needs to get into shape or whatever. But at the same time, like, I know that he's just a cheapo. I know that he has money. Not like I'm like, oh, I know you have money, I'm going to take advantage of that. But like, don't hit me with the, oh, what's training like, friends and family discount. And then I had given him workout programs years prior. And he never sticks to it, and it's just a waste of my time. And he never goes through with it, which drives me insane. And then I gave him like a nutrition plan also. So when I gave him what my rates were, like online training and in-person training, whatever it was, he was like, okay, so whatever. And they try to like hear what they want to hear. So he was like, oh, okay, so for 8 sessions, it's $200 for the month. I go, no. That's not it. Where did you even make that from at all? I'm just like, and then I like re-explain how I already explained it. He's like, oh, okay, that makes sense. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? And then he goes, okay, well, what about that nutrition plan that I had already paid you for? Can I just use that along with the training? Yeah, if you go and find it.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't have that anymore. That was 4 or 5 years ago. Like, I don't even have the same email. I don't even have the same, so like, that was yours. So if you find it and you are in the same range, by all means, you bought that, use that meal plan. He was like, oh, you don't have it? No. So again, he's trying to get away with me re-giving him something I already gave him on top of getting a friends and family discount. I'm like, dude, stop wasting my fucking time. We know that you're not going to do it anyway. It's just like, it's so crazy when I just laugh at these conversations now because I can't even take them offensively anymore because I'm just like, how do you even function like that? How do you think that's a thing?
I used to get so mad too,
but they're the same people that, again, if I was to be like, let me, whatever he does, I don't even know what the fuck he does. Okay, do whatever your job is for me for 50% of what you're doing. Yeah. He would never, because again, he's such a fucking cheapo.
I actually read something somewhere. It was about supporting small businesses and how some people, like friends, will just, they don't want to support that. Or like, let's say like buy a sweatshirt. You're buying a sweatshirt for me. You're supporting my business. I'm not making a ton of money off of it, but it's something.
I love that blue color, by the way.
Thanks, they're coming out soon. But like, so we've been buying a sweatshirt. You can't go do that, and you can't go buy a sweatshirt, but Kylie Jenner comes out with a new lip kit that's $75, and you could go buy that. Who, she doesn't need your money. She doesn't even know that you bought it, but you can't go support your small business. And that, even just, I mean, in the industry alone, you just kind of start to realize, like, okay.
I just laugh at people now, like you said. Like, I literally would rather not even have the conversation past it.
Exactly.
It's just...
And not for nothing, if I can have that, like, little time to myself and just at least have, like, Courtney time, just, like, be home and, like, clean my room or just do something for myself, that's worth way more than discounting my rates.
Yeah, because for you, it's, like a one-time thing or whatever, but you know that if they were to come back again, they're that client that is going to drive you fucking insane anyway. Like, not sticking with it, but then wondering why the results aren't happening kind of person. So if somebody is giving you a hard time in the beginning, more than likely they're just going to be a headache for the rest of the time through, because they're just like coming up with different excuses or trying to find the easy way out or trying to find the cheapest, quickest way to do something. And it's just like, at this point, after doing this for so long, I don't care. Just go somewhere else.
Literally.
You just told me that it was your health that is in risk. You need to do this. But you're not going to. And you want it the cheapest, fastest way possible. So, no.
Yeah. It all comes down to just, knowing your worth.
Yeah.
And even kind of ties into another question about like pricing and stuff. For makeup artists, what I recommend, like I will sit down and I will write down a list of everything in my kit, add it all up, see how much you invested in your kit. Add your education. Like I take classes. I take classes with Nikki. You know, I take online classes. Add that into play. And then if somebody has something to say about your rates, I literally tell them, this is how much I invested in myself. That's what you're paying for.
Yeah.
You're not paying for just like me doing your makeup. That's what you're paying for. You want a natural glam? That is what you're paying for.
Yeah.
All my makeup, all my kit, and my education.
Yeah. I just finished doing my continuing education for my personal training certification. At the end of the year, I have my athletic training CEUs also. So it's a shit ton of money that you continue to have to spend just to not even to continue to educate yourself, which you should always be doing, but just to keep your certification. It's not just like I went to school and paid all of that money and now I'm done. I continue to have to pay fucking money to keep this shit going. So it's not just like, oh, you work a 9 to 5 in an office and you're doing whatever. And you don't need to continue getting any more certifications. I got to keep paying for this shit for the rest of my fucking life. Yep. So no, if you're going to ask me for a friends and family discount, more than likely you're not my friend or my family. Yep. So don't ask me for it. And I know the people who will always support me, who will probably, when they're in hard times, get helped out. You know what I mean? Yeah. So don't be a fucking douche if you expect something in return.
Literally.
All right. Did you just go or did I just go?
I went, so you go.
Okay. I'm going to start this one off by saying I understand how controversial of a fucking topic this is now and today. But this person asked what my view is and what my feelings are on for transgenders or men being able to compete in women's sports. And I'm sure before I even answer this question, everybody already knows my opinion and my feeling on this question. And that's why I have to prerequisite with, I do not have an issue with transgenders. I do not have an issue with men who want to identify as a woman. I do not have issues with whatever gender or creature you think that you are. If you were born a man, you have the testosterone, you had the sexual organs, you have the musculature, you have all of the fibers that women do not have. You should not be competing against women. And I understand that in your mind, you have been through so much and you want to identify as what you want to identify to. But at the same time, you have to take away your title of whatever you are, whoever you are, whatever you identify as. And it's when you're out at a competition, everything should be stripped away. You know what I mean? Like everything should be like, name is gone, this is gone. What are you physically? You should all be like the same. I'll keep saying creature, and I'm not calling people creatures. I'm saying women are creatures, men are creatures, transgender are creatures, whatever the fuck you want to be. We're all fucking physical creatures. If you have that advantage that you were born with testosterone, you were born with all of these things that is physically dominant in this world, you should not be competing against the weaker creatures. And again, you could say that across men's sport, women's sport themselves, but that's why there's weight classes. That's why there's this. That's why there's different categories within that. That's already been settled. So the 170-pound female isn't going against the 130-pound female. Same thing with men. The 200-pound male isn't going against the 165 male. That's already figured out in there. But now you're trying to take a creature that is dominant no matter what their size is, because of how dense your bones are, because how just physically bigger you are as a specimen. So it doesn't make sense to me why these people think that it's okay to go against people who are obviously and blatantly without help. You know what I mean? Like if there are women who are taking steroids and they're on tests and that's just a whole different ball game too. That's an entirely different conversation on if this is a guy and this is a girl, but the girl's on test, technically she has the male hormones to help her out, whatever. That's a whole different ball game. But a natural female against a male who decided that he wanted to be a female, it shouldn't happen. They're fucking breaking skulls. They're running faster. They're all these things. And it's not saying that like women aren't equal to men. Physically, I will just sit here and say it. We're fucking not. Like Ant's lifting 600 pounds. I'm barely lifting 3. Again, he's way taller than me, has way more mass to it. But at the end of the day, a guy who is my height with my training that has done the exact same thing as me is going to be stronger than me. Unless I decide to take other things. Like I was talking about earlier with jiu-jitsu and strength. It's the same thing. If you are trained the same, you're the same weight, sure, you can be competitive. But there shouldn't be men competing against women. It's taking away from women. And these people who want equality with being a transgender and doing all these things, you coming into a women's sport, again, I get that you want to be a female. You were born the wrong thing, or you're transgender and you rather identify as a female. I get it. I can't sit here and be like, I get it. I empathize with you, because I don't. I was born a female. I want to be a female. That's just it. But it's unfair for you to step into women's sports and just run everybody over because you're physically more dominant. Also, what are you achieving from that? And what are the feelings that you're getting from it? This is what I want to know. One of my friends decided to do an all female powerlifting meet, but allowed transgenders in, and everybody threw a fit because it's like, how are you going to have a female only meet and allow men to compete against women? So it's just like a very confusing time, I think, for everybody, trying to be sensitive towards everybody's feelings and being inclusive. And I get this, but at the end of the day, people are starting to forget that what we were born as and what we are as humans and creatures and physical beings, we cannot, and that's what they're dealing with. We cannot choose that. Mm-hmm. So I can't choose the fact that my bone density, again, regardless of if my nutrition is better, if I'm taking something or whatever, I was born with less dense bones than Tut. I was born with less muscle mass potential than Tut. Tut's born with testosterone. I'm born with more estrogen. So there are just different things that we were fucking born with that physically makes it not okay for, let's talk about MMA or UFC, for a man to walk in and to fucking Superman punch a female in the face and shatter her entire fucking skull. Why is that okay just because that man decided he wanted to identify as a female? It's not okay.
Yeah.
That's just it. And there's something happening right now in the jiu-jitsu community where a guy and a girl are going against each other. It's like all for good and fun and whatever, but like, it's not like he's saying, I identify as a female, so I want to go against her. It's literally a man and a female, knowing that there's differences between them, going against each other. So that's fine. If you want to go against a guy, you want to go against a girl, that's fine. For like a funny thing out of whatever. But I know that I've been ranting on for it for a bit, but I'm trying to make the most sense of my opinion and views on it without going in too hard about it, which I know everyone's like, you should just say what you want to say, but it's a hard area to think of. But my opinion is no. Stay out. Go fight other guys. And if you're getting your ass beat, train harder.
Next question.
I have no idea what that is, B.
It might be my phone in my purse. No, it's just gonna go. Anyway. Huh? Here we go. One sec. I want really close this one.
Is that your work phone?
Yeah.
Ooh.
We're fancy.
You're so fancy, 2 phones.
I didn't even know I had it with
You're like Chris Tuttle.
So how has your mindset changed in the past year? I'm definitely more career driven. I'm definitely more focused on just getting to my goals. I'm probably the most secure I've been in. This is definitely like my prime right now and all that. I stopped people pleasing too. Like I stopped worrying like, does this person like me? Do they not like me? How can I get them to like me more? Like if someone's meant to be in my life, like in any aspect, not even talking about like relationship aspect, like any aspect, they're gonna be in my life. So the people that are in my life that I know care about me are there for me. Like that's where I'm putting my energy. And other than that, like my energy is all on building my career up. So I would say definitely have more in my mindset of just like becoming a better me than I've ever been.
Which brings one of the questions that somebody asked me. It's so fucked up. I really just want to put my feet up onto the table. I'm just gonna hang it off instead.
We're really getting comfortable in front of the camera.
It is such a rainy day. I am so sleepy today. Okay, so a question that somebody asked me, and they had asked me in person too, and then wrote it to the questions. Holy fuck. I know, I'm sorry. She asked me my advice on if you're being a good friend to somebody else and they're not reciprocating it.
Oh, I could go off on this.
Yeah. And kind of like that whole kind of thing. When is it time? Like, what can you do? What is it? How do you not get like super crazy about it? How do you not feel bad that like you're putting an effort to this person and they have nothing back for you, no matter how long you've been doing it for? And I straight up told her, like, when again, we're getting older, and you just start to learn who's actually there in it for you and not just when it's convenient for them kind of thing. So my advice always is just if somebody's not reciprocating something from you, just stop doing anything for them.
Stop reaching out.
Stop reaching out. Stop going out of your way, because obviously like it's not meaning anything to them. It's just there to benefit them. It's just there. It's because it's convenient for them. If they want something from you, that's when they reach out to you. Why do you even want to acknowledge a person like that? Why do you even want to put in any effort that you could be putting in for yourself or for your family or for the people that actually care about you? So you shouldn't get mad or irritated. They're just showing you exactly who they are.
Yeah.
So just stop putting in so much effort to somebody that is blatantly not there to help you out.
Yeah.
It's just and then they go and then they come back every now and then, or you reach out to them and they don't answer you back. Just that person isn't a person in your life anymore.
Yeah. So this kind of goes into even where I was a year ago. If I was in that situation, like for instance, like I talked about like my grandpa being in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
A year ago, if I like all my friends that knew about it, like reaching out to me, whatever, like I don't need people to reach out to me every single day. Like those that do, I really appreciate you and like thank you so much. But those that don't, like I'm not gonna go complain to them and be like, you're not there for me as much as I want you to be there for me, like whatever. Like you showed how you are to me, then like I'm not gonna put any effort towards you then. If that's how you want to be in my life, that's how you're gonna be in my life. But if you caught me a year ago, I would have fought that person and been like, why aren't you doing this? I've done X, Y, and Z and this and that, blah, blah, blah for you. And I did all this when you needed me. But when I need one thing, you can't be there for me. Now I'm like, well,
yeah,
you're not going to be in my life then.
Yeah. And this kind of also goes in with, I had another one of my clients who she came in the other day and she was doing her warm up and she was like, I want to ask you something because I feel like you have been through this. Okay. And for an hour, we talked about this topic while she was working out. And it was just kind of like that, how we were talking about last episode, just that therapy session. And also her just getting a physical release on top of it. Was she's older too. And she didn't get into fitness up until like 2.5 years ago when we started training. And she had one goal in her mind, and then she realized, I feel like a lot of people have one goal in their mind, and once they catch the bug, they realize that working out and fitness is way more beneficial in a lot of aspects in life rather than just a very simple goal that they had in the beginning. So she's been with me for like 2.5 years now, going on 3. And he was like, do you ever get people that kind of hate on you? And I looked at her, I go, absolutely. What do you mean? She goes, well, I've had these lifelong friends forever. And just in the past, like, year or so, and especially like now, her one friend is like taking digs at her for being fit now. And her friend's just like, oh, I wouldn't want to look like that. I wouldn't want to have like muscular looking legs like that. I wouldn't want to do this. Like, why are you eating this? Why aren't you doing this? I wouldn't want to do that. And she was like, she's making me feel bad. I'm like, but why is she making you feel bad? I don't know. She's just always been supportive of me and like in the beginning. But now that and she looks fucking great. She does not look like how old she is. I always tell her that she looks like a Barbie. She literally, like, if I could look like somebody when I get older, I'm like, this is you. But she's just having these friends that now anytime she's there, rather than talking to her normally, they always are talking about fitness, or they're always talking about like, oh, they think what she's doing is stupid, or this or this. And I'm like, well, what does your friend look like? And what's your friend's lifestyle? It's like, oh, well, she sits on the couch and does nothing. Right. So your friend feels terrible about herself, that you are bettering yourself. And in turn, anytime you're around, now she's uncomfortable.
Yeah. And
on top of it, she said that the friend's husband, who's also been a lifelong friend, has been wanting to get into fitness now. And that seeing like her and seeing how much she's progressed and things like that, he's like, I want to get into it, and asks her fitness questions. So now she's that positive energy, motivational friend that other people are going to for advice, that other people are looking at and is like, oh shit, like, even though we're all older, you did this massive turnaround. Like, you're doing all these things. You're like, you're going hiking. You're doing all these new adventurous things later on in life, rather than just like his wife sitting on the couch doing nothing and just being like, oh, well, I'm a good cook. Okay, great. You're a good cook. Congratulations to you. And just tearing her apart because she feels bad. She was just like, what do you do? I'm like, to be honest, like, yeah, it sucks. They're your lifelong friends and they should be there to support you. But guess what? If she's not going to be supportive, then you eventually, like, shit that she's going to say to you is just literally going to like bounce off of you. Yeah. It sucks in the beginning because it's new for you, that people are going to question what you're doing, but they're questioning what you're doing because they don't want to do what you're doing. Yeah. Because it makes them uncomfortable. They're lazy. They want to make all these excuses. Her telling you that she doesn't want to look like you is number one bullshit, because she knows that she would have to get off of her ass and do all these things. And then the person's also giving an excuse as to like, oh, well, I had COVID and I have like underlying health things now from COVID. Stop. Just another excuse. Stop putting negative energy onto other people because you don't want to do it. You should be congratulating your friend that she is enjoying her life. She now does not have to have knee surgery or I can never say shoulder surgery. I don't know why that phrase is terrible for me. She doesn't have to have shoulder surgery anymore. Why wouldn't you be happy for your friend, for them to get fit? It's because people don't want to get off their ass. It's because you're making them uncomfortable. And on top of it, by her husband being interested in what you're doing, now it makes her feel less desirable, because now her husband is like, oh, I want to do this. Again, lifelong friends. They like go on like couples vacations together. Him asking you about fitness is fine. You know what I mean? But like, the wife is in turn now going to try to tear you apart and tell you what you're doing is stupid because she wants to feel better about herself. And the whole moral of this whole like fucking story on it is just that people might be in your life for a bit or for a certain amount of time and then supporting you and are your biggest fans, biggest cheerleaders, will be there for you till the end. But the end doesn't always mean like the end, like death. The end might just mean
the end of that chapter.
The end of that chapter of what you're doing. And maybe that person doesn't fit for you anymore. And it's not saying that you need to get rid of friends, but maybe not include them in everything. Maybe not share your bad times or your good times with them. Maybe they're just when I see you, I see you when I see you friends.
Yeah.
And especially like if you are there because they're in your immediate friend group, again, you're just going to have to understand that when they say bad things to you or when they say mean things to you or when they say things that don't make sense to you, it says everything about them and literally nothing about you.
Yeah.
Because if you're so happy with what you're doing and somebody that's supposed to support you isn't supportive anymore, it's not because you're doing anything wrong. It's just because you're changing and you're doing something different. It makes them uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Literally says everything about them and nothing about you. So there is no point in you getting all worked up when you're happy and they're not anymore. It has nothing to do with you. So don't even pay it any mind. And in the beginning, it's going to suck because you're going to be confused. You're going to be like, what the fuck is happening? Like, why is my friend of 50 years being such a bitch?
Yeah.
Why is she like trying to be mean to me? It, again, has nothing to do with you and everything to do with them.
Yep.
So just let it bounce off after a while. Find random things that you know, like are one-liners to come back at. Yeah. It'll be a thing. People fade out when they need to fade out. Yeah. Not everybody is meant for you for the long run. And it's okay.
Yeah. Don't be afraid to lose that.
Yes. I don't know who just asked the question.
I did. You
Okay. All right. I'll hit it with this last one for me. This is always a topic. Women lifting and the benefits of lifting heavier for women. Like I said in the first hip bridge part, lifting heavy is relative. So again, my heavy is not going to be the same heavy as Courtney, is not going to be the same
definitely not
heavy,
the same heavy as me.
Not the same heavy as Ash, not the same heavy as Tut or Ant or anybody. Everybody's heavy is different. So we're not saying that you should be 1 rep maxing or even doing like a strength only program where you're only lifting weight that is like 1 to 5 reps. Like lifting heavy is just when we talk about kind of like a progressive overload idea of you constantly need to be challenging your body in order for you to get any sort of changes, right? So if my body is used to lifting, let's say 10 pounds over and over again, I've been lifting 10 pounds for months. Yeah, I'm maintaining what I have, but I'm not getting any stronger. And after a while, when you do things, this is why we always say like challenge to change is you need to be challenging your body in order for it to break down, to regroup to adaptations. So this is a big thing also that happens with bone density too. So when you're not putting any resistance onto your bones, so we think about lifting weights and we think about working out for muscles because a lot of people think that working out is for aesthetics only. It's only so that you could look good. And I feel like that's why a lot of people give up on working out after they have kids or after they get old enough. They're like, who do I have to impress anymore? I have fucking 6 kids. I've been married to my husband for 30 fucking years. Who do I need to impress? It has nothing to do with being impressive. You have 6 kids. Do you think that you're going to be able to run around with your kids up until they're done wanting to run around? And then when you get grandkids from your kids, you don't want to be running around after those little fuckers. I love running around after my niece and scooping her up and being able to pick her up.
Yeah.
That all comes from functional movement and strength training through lifting weights. So if you're not constantly putting different strains or stresses onto your bones and onto your muscles, they're not getting any stronger. And eventually, as you get older, they're going to start to break down. So when you're young and you start doing it, it's a good base to continue to build up on. When you're older, it's still a possibility. It just takes a little longer for your body to kind of adapt to these things after a while. But people need to stop thinking about lifting heavy as like me lifting 1,000 pounds. It's all relative. It's just you needing to put a load on your body in order for it to break down, in order for it to adapt, and for you to get stronger and for your bones to break down, to build back up and get denser so that you don't end up getting osteopenia or osteoporosis and you don't get this terrible arthritis that you can't even get up or move or go up the stairs. So stop thinking about lifting as an aesthetic thing and think about you need this in order to keep your body able to do shit later on. So if it's not now, it's your grandkids, it's your great grandkids, it's all these things that you want to enjoy with your life. You don't want to be that person that is stuck in the fucking wheelchair because you can't stand upright. You don't want to be that person that is just like watching your granddaughter running around because you're not in enough shape to walk up a hill with her without being out of breath. So fitness isn't just aesthetics. It's literally for you to be able to function throughout life and for you to enjoy your life. Go on hikes, go on excursions when you go out and do shit. Stop sitting on your fucking couch. There's way more to life, and fitness is, again, I'll say it over and over again, not just aesthetics. You need it in order to function and in order for you to do shit later on. Get off your ass. Lift some fucking weights.
Yeah. All right, my last question is about extensions. Weaves, unbelievable. So there's 4 different types of extensions that you can get. You could get K-tips, I-tips, volume weft, or tapes. So the tape-ins, it's just like, I'm like showing it to you. Show it to the camera. So it's just like a little tiny tape that you would pretty much like sandwich to each other, and in between would be the hair. The volume weft is what I have in my hair, so I'll post a little video of that. Then the I-tips are with a bead, and it attaches to your hair with a bead. Those are like really good to maintenance. I would have done those, but I dye my hair so often that's the reason why I didn't do those. Because you can't really dye your hair because the dye will get in between the bead, and then you don't want it to just sit in your scalp and just keep processing. That's more damaging for your hair. So those you'd have to like take out, dye your hair, put them back in. So that's why I have the volume weft one. So the volume weft, it has little beads and it attaches to like little strands of your hair. And then in between that you would sew it's pretty much like picture a clip-in extension without the clips. So then you would just sew it into where those beads are. So those are easy. Like I could still put my hair up. I just can't like slick it back because then you'll see like the sides of it. And then the K-tipped extensions are a keratin bond, which is like the typical one that a lot of people get. Extensions alone are very expensive. So a lot of people kind of are scared to get them because they're like, oh, I don't want them, but I like rather get clip-ins. And it's also an investment. So I usually recommend my clients that don't want to spend a shit ton of money, but you know, they really want to get extensions. The I-tip ones and the volume weft ones are really good for that. The hair itself lasts a year. So you're pretty much investing in the hair. Then once the hair's paid off, that's yours. You just have to keep paying for the maintenance of it. So the K-tipped keratin bonds, you can't reuse the hair. The tape-ins you can. Me personally, I hate them. I don't like them. I feel like they damage your hair more. They kind of like rip the hair out because like the tape alone, and like it doesn't let your hair in between to breathe. So it's just like, it's just sitting on hair. Like there's nothing to get in between. Like mine at least, like I could still get to where my hair is, and I could still like wash that and all kind of get in there. I'm like trying to show you.
Lord.
Anyway, so yeah, for the price you're gonna pay for extensions, I would recommend doing the I-tipped or the volume weft ones. I'll post videos and pictures of all of them. Keratin bonds, they're great. You could dye your hair with them too, but if you have the money, you're literally, as soon as you take them out, they last up to only 3 months. You literally take them out and throw them out. You can't reuse them. So you're pretty much paying the same as the I-tipped, but the I-tip ones you can reuse for a year. Keratin, you're just tossing them in the garbage and repaying that same price. So yeah, I'll post videos of all of that, so you guys could be unbelievable. If you want extensions, I do them.
I had one other random question, and I'm just gonna say the question and not answer it because they just did an episode and I don't know how they answered it, and I hate doing this follow-up thing. But one of them asked me who my favorite guy is, and I think that it's a very generic question. I'm gonna think that they asked who my favorite guy on the team is, and I still haven't decided yet.
Ooh.
I think we should do like a rating one day on like all of the guys in No Windy Sleeves, and we'll do a rating system. I don't know. So stupid. You're literally so stupid. Brandon's the bottom of my list. All right, guys. Thank you so much for being with us for 20 episodes.
Yay!
Thanks to our sponsors.
Glow Commando, FT Performance Labs, No Windy Sleeves.
Stay tuned for our new merch drop soon.
Ooh, exciting.
Glow Commando and No Windy Sleeves as well.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
Bye.